YouTube, how the duck you doing? Delfino here. What I got for you today is a new and improved setting guide for Marvel Rivals Season 2. We're going to be talking about display settings, audio settings, keyboard settings, and of course, hero-specific settings. So without further ado, I hope you sit back, relax, and enjoy this show. Now kicking things off with display, for display mode, I'm running borderless window because I have two monitors. If you have one monitor, I recommend full screen because you will get more FPS in full screen. But if you have two monitors, borderless window is easier to use because you can tap in, tap out very easily. Again, full screen if you have one monitor, but this is a matter of preference. But I do believe with full screen, you do in fact get more FPS. Now for anti-aliasing and super resolution type, I have a NVIDIA graphics card, so I use NVIDIA DLSS. I used to run TAU for more FPS, but I've noticed that you actually get a little bit more FPS with DLSS if you have an NVIDIA graphics card, which is a nice setting. Then I run performance because you get more FPS. You still get a little bit of that anti-aliasing, that sharper resolution. If you use ultra performance, your game will literally look like Play-Doh, but you get more FPS. I guess that's a preference thing if you want. If you were running, say, an AMD graphics card, then you would use Epic TSR, I believe, and you probably do the same thing with performance, and then anti-aliasing, medium, whatever. But for NVIDIA graphics cards, DLSS performance, 80%. Now, NVIDIA frame generation, I have this off. I don't think it's good. Or NVIDIA reflex low latency, sorry, I have this off. Brightness, I have 80 because I play in a dark room. Probably not the best thing for my eyes, but it's at 80. Limit FPS, don't have it on. Show FPS if you so desired. See FPS, number stacks, up to you. Do not use VSync. Never use VSync. It's a terrible idea. You'll get a ton of input lag. It's awful. If you're having screen tearing issues, then I would start messing with your settings, with your display mode, with your resolution types to try to get rid of that screen tearing. I would never use VSync. Then for our graphics, everything is low except for shadow detail and effects detail. For effects detail, if you have this on low, you won't be able to see a Hella trail when she's in bird form, so it's going to be harder to track. Even though you could follow the bird, it just makes it a lot easier when you can see that trail behind. And I'll show you that later on in the video, but this is something that's good. Everything else is low. Again, shadows medium. You can when you use shadow detail on medium or high, you can see enemies kind of behind corners and stuff. It helps illuminate dark areas, so it's a good thing to have. Moving on to audio, I have in-ears, so I have my audio relatively low because I don't want to blow my eardrums out. But you can see 47, 41. This is all preference, tweak it how you want. I don't run 3D enhancement, I think it's terrible. I use default costume sound effects. Don't know what that does, but it's there. Push to talk, yes. Combat mix, I have immersion because this allows you to hear more enemies, and I think it's something that you need to change. No one ever changes this. It's set to default, and it might be a setting you actually don't even know. But with that being said, we have volume at 4 for our hit indicator. Material layer, volume, UI layer volume, all 100. 33353 for healing others, being healed, damage volume. Now, this is where I recommend you definitely changing, is announce when a teammate is knocked out. I have this on. It lets you know a teammate is eliminated. It gives you a sound effect when a teammate is KO'd. So you don't have to maybe look top right. You just have to listen to sounds and you know that you don't have a teammate now. I think it's something that's super underrated. I also have announce enemy knockout. So I have both of these on. So very, very, very good for both enemy and teammate, and I think it's something you definitely need to change. Now moving on to keyboard and combat, make sure you have all heroes selected so it affects all of your heroes. Put mouth smoothing, put this off. Mouse acceleration is also off. Also these invert horizontal and invert vertical, make sure they're off unless you play with them on, then you're kind of a psycho, but majority of the time you want it off, but make sure you have these two settings off. And for raw input, make sure this is on. So it actually read the raw mouse input data during movement, preventing factors other than the mouse itself from affecting sensitivity. It's a very good setting, but the one thing I will say, depending on your computer, you might get some micro stutters when you have this on. Not with your mouse movement, but literally just the FPS and the gameplay itself, you might have some micro stutters, so it's completely up to you if you want to have it on. But my personal recommendation, I suggest you having it on, testing it for yourself, see if you have those micro stutters or whatever. If you have those micro stutters, then I would say turn it off. If you're not having them, then have it on. It's always better to have it on. Moving on to our HUD setting at our heroes section, I recommend turning allied health bars on. I think this is a very overlooked setting. This allows you, if you're playing a duelist, maybe you see your friendly Vanguard low on HP, go ahead, recommend your strategist, yo, pump some more healing into my Vanguards that need help. Things like that is very beneficial. I just think no one really ever has this on or doesn't even understand it is a setting. But moving on to our reticles, I use either my dot crosshair or I use my plus. I will put both of them in the description with the copy code, so it's beneficial that way. Unfortunately, if you want it for console, you would have to mimic it. You would have to know every single setting. So I'll just show you real quick. You can see width, details, dot width. If you're playing console, you can copy it, pause the video, slow it down, do whatever. So it's a little bit easier if you're playing console. But if you're on mouse and keyboard or on PC, sorry, I will put the link for both of them in the comments. Then moving on to our HUD widget size, I actually used a small setting. I think it's a very good setting. When you have it on large, your screen is a little bit more cluttered, and I like a very clean, simple screen layout. So I always run small scale. I think it's just better. UI, everything is normal. Communication, everything is normal. Spectating, normal. Controllers, I don't use controllers, sorry. For social, you know, it's all pretty much the same. I mean, it's all pretty much default. I've set to private. Then for accessibility, what I will say when it comes to this, if you can run red for custom colors for enemy color, I do recommend changing the enemy color. So the human eye reacts to red and yellow the fastest, so having it set to red or yellow is usually good. You can run blue, purple. At the end of the day, it's preference, but again, your eyes do react to red and yellow a lot faster, so maybe swapping to those colors could benefit you. But like I said, it is preference. For me personally, I run blue, purple, because that's just what I like. Everything else is set to default. Now coming to our hero specific settings, for our strategist, there is one setting that I personally like to use, and that is healing reticle feedback. Now what this does is it gives you a noise and it shows an indication at the center of your screen if you're getting a healing off. Now I have slight hard of hearing, so I think it's a very good setting to have it on if one of your ears, maybe it's hard to hear the healing noise, the healing orb noise. So when I don't have it on, this is what it looks like. You know, I get the healing done. Just the audio indication, right? Now I don't have the best of hearing in one of my ears, so sometimes I might not know if the heal went properly off or it's hitting my teammates. The cool thing is when you go to settings, come down, go to healing reticle feedback, you turn this on, and you can see at the center of my screen, it shows that I'm healing a teammate. Now, for some people, it might seem like you're cluttering the screen, just too much going on. It's kind of annoying. Yes, that's true, but it's a setting meant for people that maybe don't have the best of healing. Maybe you don't know you're actually healing a teammate. I think it's a very good setting for people that maybe don't have the best of healing, and I think it's a very cool setting. Now, the cool thing is that you can put it on every single strategist. However, you would have to go to each strategist individually, go to keyboard and combat, go down, have it on. So I think it's a setting that's very good, very beneficial to people with hard of hearing. Maybe they just need it in general. Now, I'm not saying you have to put it, it's just very helpful. Then of course you go to keyboard and combat, go to Venom, make sure easy swing is off. If I have easy swing on, I just press, my movement button and it automatically goes to a wall. Once I have it off, I can choose where I actually want to swing from. Now the same setting is there for Spider-Man as well. Just to show you, settings, keyboard and combat. Make sure Spider-Man is selected, in fact. There he is. Keyboard and combat, scroll down. And we have automatic swinging. It's called something different. It's the same exact thing as Venom. I have it on. I press shift, it automatically goes to wall. I turn it on. Or turn it off, sorry. And I choose where I want to swing instead. Something that's very useful if you want a lot more fluidity with those two heroes. There's a little bit of delay when I, have it on tap. So when I don't have it on tap and I have it to hold, I can let it go even faster. You tap shift and you get that double hit animation. But that about wraps up this video. Of course, if you're new here or find yourself coming back on the regular and you aren't already subscribed yet, why not? It's completely free and you're coming back anyways. Pushing for 20,000 subscribers, so might as well sub and join in. But anyways, I hope you have a great and safe day and I'll catch you in the next one.